Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today I have the T480. This ThinkPad is a very well-loved model for a variety of different reasons that I will be going over with you right from the beginning. So this model was first announced at CES in January of 2018, and it was a very tasteful upgrade from the T470, which I have featured on this channel, and if you haven't seen that video, you can find it right over here. A couple of key differences is that there were no P models anymore. Quad-core CPUs were included in the regular lineup for these machines. The NVIDIA GeForce option was the MX150, which was a very nice GPU for a variety of different tasks, including some light gaming. There were a couple of physical configuration changes. For example, there is no longer a USB 3.0 on the left-hand side. It has been replaced with the proprietary docking connector that sports a USB Type-C connection, as well as the power delivery is now being provided by USB-C style charging. Because of that, there is no docking port on the bottom of the machine, as you can see here, so only the newer USB Type-C or Thunderbolt 3 docks are compatible with this unit. So just for clarity's sake, this was one of the very first machines that moved away from the square plug to the now standard USB Type-C plug, although these are still used to power docking stations, which is kind of cool. All right, very quickly, here are your CPU configurations. There were two models available that were left over from the T470, the i5-7200U and 7300U. However, the modern 8th generation Intel series was the i3-8130U, the i5-8250U, the i5-8350U, the i7-8550U, and the i7-8650U. And it is worth pointing out that these are 25 watt processors. They're not the lower TDP. So there was a small boost in performance to be had there. The GPU options were the Intel HD 620, and if it came equipped, the NVIDIA GeForce MX150. The machine came in 3 display options. One I would say is not necessarily that desirable, and they were the 1366 by 768 220 nit panel, the 920 by 1080 250 nit panel, which was also available with a touchscreen option, and then the 2560 by 1440 300 nit panel. Obviously, battery performance will vary depending on which one of those that you have, and these feature the Think Shutter, which is an excellent hardware switch that allows the web camera to be physically blocked. So just to provide you that extra bit of security. We have that classic ThinkPad style keyboard, beautiful trackpad, and of course track point. There were fingerprint readers that were optional, however, this does not have one. Getting into other specifications, which is the RAM, here's what I do know definitively. We are looking at DDR4 low power memory, which is operating at 2400 megahertz, and the theoretical maximum, depending on the CPU configuration that you get it with, is 32 gigabytes. So that would be 2 sticks of 16. However, there are some rumors floating around out there that you can get 64 gigabytes maximum. I've seen this mentioned on a couple of threads, and I suspect it would only be in the higher end of CPUs that might actually support it. So needless to say, regardless of what you're doing with this, RAM is probably not going to be the bottleneck or the problem. In terms of drives, we do have a 2.5-inch bay option or an M.2 80mm drive, depending on the configuration, and we'll see that when we open this up, and that is an NVMe compliant slot. Other internals that we'll see when we get in there include a smart card and fingerprint reader as optional, as earlier mentioned. Your Wi-Fi card is an M.2 slot 30mm. Your LTE is a 42mm slot, and then there is another M2 slot that is 42mm that can accept a PCIe SSD. This does sport the PowerBridge technology, which in my mind is one of the greatest innovations that we've kind of lost in newer generations of ThinkPad. So there was an optional internal battery, and then you had the external battery that could be hot swapped out. The internal 3-cell 24 watt-hour battery was an option that most people took. This is the 3-cell that sits flush with the machine, which is 24 watt-hours, and then you could get a 6-cell 48 watt-hour and then a 6-cell 72 watt-hour. So you could max out the battery on this at 96 watt hours. Lastly, let me give you a quick tour of the ports and other features. So obviously we do have the battery bridge on the bottom. We have 2 downward firing speakers. On the right-hand side of the machine, we have the Kensington lock slot, SD card reader, Ethernet, USB 3.0, HDMI, USB 3.0 again, and a headphone microphone combo jack. It is worth pointing out that that USB 3.0 is always on. On the back, we have absolutely nothing. On the left-hand side, we have the optional smart card reader, the fan exhaust. Here we have the proprietary docking connector mentioned earlier with the Thunderbolt 3 USB Type-C connector, and then the USB Type-C style charging with indicator light. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you how quickly and easy it is to disassemble the T480 and why these machines still hold a lot of credibility even in the year 2021. So to start our disassembly, we will need a Phillips screwdriver, and we will need to start off by removing the PowerBridge battery. And if there is an internal battery present, you should be going into the BIOS and disabling it so you can open the laptop without any fear of static discharge. To open the laptop, it is a simple matter of locating all of the screws that are facing you and spinning them out until you hear a click. In this case, we only have the 5 screws to deal with. Once they're removed, we can go ahead and find a corner that looks like it's going to behave and just start prying up the. You can press these clips down here just to help release the back near the battery here. All right, and now with that lid off, we can literally see everything that we would need to service on this machine. So starting at the top, we do have the CMOS battery staring us right in the face. We have our cooling solution present. We have little foils covering, in this case, the Wi-Fi card, and this is one of the M.2 slots. We also have our 2 sticks of RAM. Only one slot is currently occupied right now. The other one remains vacant. We do have the battery bridge sitting there with the connector present there. And we do have a 2.5-inch SSD waiting for us right here. This one was not configured with the M.2 80mm 2280 drive. It is worth pointing out that on a model like this, if you did want to upgrade that to the NVMe style drive, you are having to replace this, and there is a caddy that you can buy that is inserted there, and then this is just simply replaced. You can, of course, get an M.2 drive for the 42mm slot. However, that won't be an NVMe style because that slot does not have NVMe speeds, or at least not on the spec sheet that I looked at. All right, if you do need to just do a keyboard replacement, or maybe you want to upgrade to the backlit one, even though they're not labeled, these are the only 2 screws that are actually holding the keyboard in place. Making sure to remove our battery and disable our internal one. Flip the machine over, and as you can see, the keyboard wiggle works just fine. Let's take our favorite plastic card and just gently encourage it up and out. And our ribbon cables are right there. So we just flip that over, undo these 2 ribbon cables, one for the track point, one for the keyboard, and easy peasy to remove. All right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and put this back together, and then we can take a look at some boot times. All right, with everything back together, let's go ahead and power it on. All right, as you can see, very quick. Thankfully, this is the 920 by 1080p panel. The 1366 by 768, in my opinion, would be a panel to skip. And we are looking at the i5 with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So a little bit of room to upgrade there. It is a beautiful machine. The going rates on these are kind of in flux at the moment because these are coming off of some warranties now and are going to be flooding the market. You can anticipate ballpark wise to pay anywhere from $500 to $600 Canadian dollars, maybe even a little bit more, for a model in good shape like this. If you have any questions about this laptop, or perhaps you've used one of these in your travels, please feel free to comment in the comment section down below there. I would love to hear your experiences with the T480 and some of the things that you liked about it, maybe some of the things that you aren't sad to see gone in some of the newer models. One of the other things that I will point out is that while this model does not have a backlit keyboard, they were an option. So if you are looking for one of these on eBay, make sure that you're checking the pictogram on the spacebar to see whether or not yours includes one. So as you can see, both of the batteries are in relatively good health. We're getting about 4 hours on battery saver mode with just the machine idling. That could possibly go up or down, as this is a relatively new install and sometimes these numbers fluctuate around that point. I left it for a couple more minutes and it's jumped up to 9 hours, but that definitely is probably on the higher end of what these two smallest batteries can possibly do. Needless to say though, even running Wi-Fi and using it for productivity should provide respectable battery life. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will encourage you to do the big four. Please like the video, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, so the next time I feature a slightly newer ThinkPad than some of the other ones that end up on this channel, you'll be the first to know about it. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.